2011, and it's a film called The Adventures of Tintin, The Secret of the Unicorn. And it's an animated adventure produced and directed by Steven Spielberg. It's based on the comic book series by Hergé. Hergé is the pen name of Georges Remy, who's a Belgian cartoonist. He pioneered the Ligne Claire drawing style, aiming to be straightforward with greater realism, and that was also carried forward into the storylines for children as well. Very straightforward storylines he wanted. He developed his Tintin character in various newspapers. Now, in the early days of Tintin, he didn't have full control over what Tintin would be doing for the adventures. He was told to draw this and that for the frankly conservative newspapers that he was drawing for. But after the German occupation of Belgium in 1940, he drew his cartoon series in a newspaper which turned out to be run by Nazis, and it wasn't a problem at the time, but after 1944, the staff of the paper, including Hergé, were accused of collaboration. And this actually panned out to not be a problem, but it did actually hurt them reputation-wise for a while. In 1946, he started Tintin magazine to serialise the new adventures of Tintin stories, and with his studio Hergé, he had everything under control himself by then. The film that I'm talking about here, the 2011 film, is a composite of the stories across 3 volumes of The Adventures of Tintin. It's a composite of The Crab with the Golden Claws, which was published in 1941, The Secret of the Unicorn, 1943, and Red Rackham's Treasure, 1944. And I'm sure many of us remember the books from our childhood. Tintin, a reporter, and Snowy, his small dog, are in an outdoor market. He spots a model ship and buys it, the Unicorn, very small model ship, and is immediately offered a price for it by 2 strangers, one after the other, consecutively. One of the strangers, named Sakharin, who you see here in the slide, is highly persistent. Refusing the offers, Tintin takes the model ship home, where Snowy accidentally breaks it chasing a cat. A tubular cylinder falls out unnoticed and rolls under a desk. And there's a subplot throughout the first part, which features a kleptomaniac at large, a pickpocket who steals wallets. Thompson and Thompson, Thompson without the P and Thompson with the P, are 2 detectives who are on... Oh, by the way, Thompson and Thompson are played by Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. They did the motion capture and voice for Thompson and Thompson. 2 detectives, they're on the case of this kleptomaniac. Tintin goes to the library to research the model and comes home to find the Unicorn stolen, the little ship stolen. Tintin immediately pays a visit to Sakharin, who resides at Marlinspike Hall, where he finds the model ship, only it's not his one. This one isn't broken, it's a duplicate. Returning home, Tintin finds the metal tube, thanks to Snowy, and inside it finds a small parchment containing something that sounds poetic and some cryptic symbols. He puts the parchment scrap in his wallet. The next day, Tintin's wallet gets picked. You see, there's a pickpocket on the loose by the kleptomaniac, and is then captured and taken on board a ship commandeered by Sakharin. The ship's captain, Haddock, is drunk and depressed. They escape in a lifeboat, which Haddock drunkenly builds a fire in the middle of the ocean, and then puts it out with whiskey, which explodes the lifeboat. A seaplane set forth by Sakharin finds them, but Tintin and Haddock shoot the plane down and take it to Morocco. So, lots of adventures. Thompson and Thompson find the kleptomaniac and consequently Tintin's wallet. Steven Spielberg became a fan of Tintin after Raiders of the Lost Ark was compared to Tintin in a review. And at the same time, Hergé became a fan of Spielberg, saying that only Spielberg could do Tintin justice as a film. In 1983, Spielberg was to meet Hergé in London while filming Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, but Hergé died that week, so he never got to actually see him. Fanny Remy, his widow, gave Spielberg the rights for a very short period of time, and after a few unsatisfactory experiments of shooting live action, he lost the rights because they timed out and he was doing other things at the time. In 2001, he considered that it might be feasible to shoot it with computer animation, and the rights were sought again. Now, by the time DreamWorks obtained the option, he went back to the idea of live action, but he asked Peter Jackson if Weta Digital in New Zealand could computer generate Snowy. Jackson persuaded Spielberg not to use live action for the film and instead use motion capture. Weta Digital spent a week doing a demo test of 20 minutes, and this really swung the whole deal. For the actual production shooting, Jackson was hands-on at Weta Digital, and Spielberg video conferenced in a way that we are all very much used to today. Snowy was the most difficult to animate, and his animation was helped by some motion capture of real dogs in motion. The film departs from the three books in that it is based. It's based on these three books, but it departs from the three books in several ways. Sakharine in the book is not as important, is not a villain, and is not the descendant of Red Rackham. A sequel has been planned on and off since the release of The Secret of the Unicorn, the film, but in all this time hasn't managed to materialise. The intention is certainly there, and we may well see a new Tintin film in the future. So, Tintin, The Adventures of Tintin, The Secret of the Unicorn, 2011. Have a very good Friday and have a very good weekend, everybody. Thank you very much. Goodbye.